All right. Hello again, everybody. It's Chad with Chadwan Street Photography. Today, I wanted to show you something a little bit different. I posted a photo today on Instagram, and I was going to kind of go through my workflow, my general workflow on editing a photo, just to kind of show process, basically. So let me share my screen here with you. And it's easiest in... I have not done that in this app yet, so let's see if everything blows up. Chrome has a bug. Oh, friendly reminder. I don't know if I can inception this shit. That is amazing. some great software right there. All right, so we're gonna try a screen share again. Good thing that only one person's watching, whoever that lucky soul is. All right, so let me see, make sure my other one is not running. It's interesting. All right, and I'm going to share my screen again. My viewers, weird. All right, so let's share the screen. Let's try this again. Select window, yes. Firefox cannot allow, oh, Firefox does not allow this. Oh man, will you allow StreamYard to see your screens? Well, yeah. Let's see. All right. So I believe, yep, here we go. You guys are actually seeing this. Normally, if you're using like Zoom or something like that, you can obviously like kind of make a window and all sorts of things. StreamYard requests, I suppose. So, all right, we've got, this is a photo that I posted today on Instagram, right? And I just kind of wanted to show you guys how I edit, and put together a photo. So general process here. This is Luminar, made by Skylum. I know that most people like to use Lightroom, and after having given Adobe so much money and time of my life, I decided to find alternatives, and this is one that I found, for better or worse some days, but we're going to go through it nonetheless. So this is the final image, right? And I'm going to turn off some layers here, and then come into my last layer and just turn some things off. And slowly you're beginning to see, oh, yes, is it going to crash? We're getting lots of technical difficulties out in this one. Fantastic. I think it is crashing. Nope. Oh, look at that. Way to keep your head on. All right, so this, and there's just a little fog up there. This is the base image, right? What I've done here is just a little bit of contrast, and then I generally will like split my highlights and my shadows just to flatten out the histogram. You'll see like this is the actual base image, right? So all I've done is bring down the highlights and the shadows up a little bit, and you can kind of see the reaction that has, to the image. So I'm just kind of lightly bringing up the mids, bringing down the highlights, and really when I talk about the highlights, it's like this sky up here and all of that. And let's see which ones I used. So then structure, this is basically a sharpening and a little bit of contrast as well. And you can see like details in here, right? Like these like black veins and things like that will become a little bit more pronounced. And the idea here is obviously when I set this shot up, all of these lines here are leading you into this kind of hole here, and the tree, that lines up magically, coincidentally on, the third there of the image, right? So then we come in, I think I tweaked a little bit of color maybe here, maybe not. Definitely did a little bit of sharpening. So this, just a tad bit to, again, bring out some of the small details, and you can see the difference that makes. Now, I don't often do something like that to an entire image. There's not a lot of detail up here in the sky, and this is so hazy, and I'm going to fog it out later anyway. But most of the time I would grab that or just like kind of localize it or something like that. I did not denoise, and I think, yeah, so there's this little landscape enhancer, and this is good. It's basically just a green key. Anything in your photo that's like green, or it's thinking are plants or grass or anything like that, you can bump this guy up, and you can see it's just juicing that green just a little bit more. And then I added a little bit of fog, and that's, you'll see it like out here. And this, I guess, harkens back to my days in doing CG environments. Everything's got to have fog. So I still do it a lot in my photography, where I will like bring up the mids in the distance and try to bring contrast to the foreground and get you to look at like what I'm trying to get you to look at. So even though it's not as sophisticated as what we'd be able to do in 3D, there's still, the option to do it. And then just an adjustable gradient. So this guy is, you can see like I can move this thing around, and it's a gradient, as the name suggests, from the top of the screen that dies off across basically this line, and then nothing's going on right here. And that, again, is just to bring the sky down a little bit, because later I'm going to push just a little harder over here, and then I'm going to also intensify that on the right-hand side just a little bit. I probably dodged and burned. Yep. So this is when you kind of like start to shape, and these are more like artistic decisions. I generally don't do a lot of this, and I try not to be too heavy-handed with it. But the idea here is you can see like this area, you know, on the kind of right of the image. Let me confirm that you guys can actually see my mouse cursor. I just want to know that if I'm wiggling around the cursor, yes, you can. Voila. All right. So this area over here, I wanted to darken, right? So that shapes this, and it helps this line be a bit more pronounced and become a bit more of a leading line. And then from there, we kind of hop into here. Now this is shadowed, and I'm using this then to kind of jump across the page, that warmth, like your eye is always drawn to warm colors. And you could see in like the original photo, I'm not really pulling this out a ton. It was there. It's actually the reflected light from the sun setting that like bounced on this wall and gave it this beautiful, like nice warm color. So I just like pushed just ever so slightly on this. But again, like, you know, a little bit, I darkened this down here a little bit because, you know, this stuff's really just not so important. And again, darkened this to just emphasize that leading line yet again, just a little bit more, brightened up the side of the tree, you know, just a little bit as well. But a lot of this stuff is kind of compositionally working for it anyway, like really like drawing your eye around the canvas. So then let's see what I do here. This is just adding a little bit of color contrast, right? So that's going to split like your oranges and your greens and your blues, just making the contrast between the colors even a little bit more. And then I tweak the tones of my shadows, my mids, and my highlights just ever so slightly, kind of essentially like split toning it, pushing the shadows a little bit more blue per se, and the highlights a little bit more orange. That's like a pretty traditional split toning. I don't always do it that specific way. It kind of depends, you know, the shot. It's on a case-by-case basis. And I did not... that's weird. I normally will use this. Apparently, I was not feeling in the mood today. So then, what did I do here? More. So here, you can see a lot of the things I was talking about. I stomped on it just a bit more. And I drew out this line even more, drew out this line. So this was from burning and drawing out highlights. Same thing here. And you can see on the tree up here as well, I darkened this area, drawing out a little bit more, you know, from the sky and that cloud, and a little bit more of that color as well. And then pushed a little bit more on the green again. And again, like I'm just trying to like this kind of complement the green and the red, or the yeah, the reddish orange and the green here. I like point to the one that's not the other. And then obviously you've got the like warm cool between the blue and the rock here. So then this guy here is just another layer. It's an erase layer. So you'll see some of this is actually like in the rocks. It's just the way that this rock is. And it takes it a minute to like process up here, but there's like little specks. Some of them are from the camera. Just every once in a while you'll get an artifact, but some of them are from like these like little flakes in the rock. And a few of them I just found a little bit distracting, so I got rid of them. That's just, you know, being a little bit neurotic perhaps, but I mean, anything that's not drawing your eye could potentially be taking, you know, away from your view. So That's, one of the things I'm always like looking at. It's there's a movie I love, LA Story, and at one point Steve Martin, who's in it, he's talking to his girlfriend, and she's taken forever to get ready, and they're just trying to like go out to a dinner and whatever. And she has to go in front of the mirror, and she does this test where she stares at the mirror, turns around, looks back at the mirror, and the first thing she sees, she takes off, right? Because that's like the distracting thing. And I've always, like, for me, it's kind of the same thing with photography, and then even like VFX and stuff. Like, always the first thing you spot is like one of the like harbingers of doom for your image. So any like little thing that draws my eye, I generally go after it. So this layer, it was really just, just what I thought, just a little bit of contrast, like bringing up the whites and the blacks just a little bit, so you can see like the difference that makes. Like, obviously if we stepped on it, like that's really not great. And then same thing here, this is what it was. And if we did this, it's like Indiana Jones and a nuke went off, right? I think it was somewhere around here. I think it was 13. And I think that's all I did here. Yeah, that is all I did on this layer. And then this guy. So this, you could kind of see this little mask up here. And all I've done is add, again, a little bit more fog, I think. Yep. So can't help myself. Got to add the fog. And again, like, this is always like super, super minimal. It's not like, I don't go crazy town with that. But it just helps to kind of, you've got this like darker area and a lighter area, and then everything is pointing in toward into our tree guy. And then what I do here, I might not have done anything here. Oh, this is, it's just a slight like glow treatment. I could turn this off, and you probably, it's gonna like tweak the contrast just a little bit. And I really only did it for the orange in here. And like, you could probably slightly notice it. I don't know how great the image quality is here, but this was something that I posted today on Instagram. I just figured I'd kind of go through the process. I just did this one today. I'm slowly, like, gradually trying to get through all of the photos that I took in Utah, and then simultaneously planning a trip for the Sierras, Eastern Sierras, and Oregon, kind of simultaneously. So looking forward to that and getting back out, and I'll probably do like a couple of little live streams from location, internet willing, right? So with that, I think that'll end my thing for tonight. If I have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop me a line on the video, or of course message me. And I hope you enjoyed. Have a good night or day, depending on where you are in the world. All right.